Welcome to another session of PMP Hot Topics. In this video, we're going to cover risk response strategies to help you prepare for your CAPM or PMP exam, whatever the case may be. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel for more videos on tips and tricks to help you with your upcoming exam. So let's get started. First, we want to define what a risk is. A risk is defined as an uncertain event that may or may not happen during the course of your project. If the risk becomes a reality, it is known as an issue. Risk response planning involves determining ways to reduce or eliminate any threats to the project and increase the impact of any identified opportunities. Risk response planning is intended to bring the overall risk of a project to an acceptable level. Risk may be accepted in a project depending upon many factors. Risk response planning allows you leveraging any positive risks. Now, there's two categories of risk responses. The first one is positive risks, also known as opportunities. For the purpose of your exam, we've abbreviated this as C to help you remember. In this case, C stands for share, enhance, and exploit. Share is where an ownership is shared with another organization that may capitalize the most from the risk. Enhance is increasing the probability of occurrence, most likely to realize any gains. And exploit is doing everything in your power to make sure that the risk actually happens. A second category of risk response strategies is negative risks. These are things that may harm your project. They are also known as threats. And for the purpose of the exam, you want to abbreviate that as ATM to help you remember. ATM in this case stands for avoidance, transfer, and mitigate. In avoidance, you alter your project completely to eliminate the identified risk. In transfer, the risk is assigned to a third party. Usually money is involved. Mitigate is making an effort to reduce the probability or likelihood of occurrence of these risks. And then there's response strategies that can be applied for both opportunities and threats. One of them is acceptance. As we all know, risks are to be expected in any project, and there are times that there's nothing you can do about that but to accept. There's two forms of acceptance strategy. One is passive acceptance, where no action is taken. The other is active response, which involves setting aside a contingency reserve to be used when and if the risk happens. Another response strategy that can be applied to both opportunities and threats is escalate. Some risks are beyond the boundaries of a project. In this case, they can be escalated to a more appropriate party, in such a case as senior management or the PMO. Let's look at a scenario that helps you understand the response strategies better. A company involved in manufacturing steel plates hires James as a project manager who is an expert in that product. Human Resources finds out that James has a pending case that involved embezzling funds from a previous company to pay off his debts. However, his skill set is very unique, and losing James will have tremendous effect on the project. The company then has to consider various strategies of addressing this risk. And as I go through each strategy, try to think of what risk response that references. So A, allow him to continue to stay on the project, but pay back all the money that he owes. That will be mitigate. B, fire James and report him to the ethics committee and promote Jane to run the project. That will be avoidance. C, fire him and outsource the project. That should be an easy one. That's transfer. And D, allow him to continue because it has nothing to do with your project. That will be a form of acceptance. Now let's look at real questions that you might find in your PMP exam. You're leading a project, there's a high priority opportunity that could increase the profitability. By using technology upgrades, thereby reduce costs and duration. The project sponsor and you want to reconfirm that this benefit is captured by increasing the probability of occurrence to 100%. Which risk response strategy are you using? A, escalate, B, exploit, C, share, and D, accept. Pause the video, read the question, and try to pick an answer. The correct answer is B. Exploit strategy may be selected for high priority opportunities where the organization wants to ensure that the opportunity is realized. This strategy seeks to capture the benefit associated with the particular opportunity, ensuring that it definitely happens, increasing the probability of occurrence to 100%. This is referenced in PM Box 6th edition, page 444. Another example of a question is, in what kind of risk response strategy do you transfer the risk? A, avoid, B, mitigate, C, transfer, D, share. The answer is C. Please note that transferring does not mean the risk has been eliminated. By transferring a risk, you're transferring responsibility to a third party to manage this risk if it occurs. Again, that can be found in PM Box 6th edition, page 444. Another example is this: a joint venture is an example of which kind of risk response strategy? A, exploit, B, share, C, transfer, D, enhance. The answer is B. A joint venture is where you team up with another company to share the opportunity. This is an example of a shared risk response strategy. Let's look at another example. Your hardware vendor left you a voicemail saying that the snowstorm in the Midwest will prevent your equipment from arriving on time. You identified a risk response strategy for this risk and have arranged for a local company to lease you the needed equipment until yours arrives. This is an example of which risk response strategy? A, transfer, B, acceptance, C, mitigate, D, avoid. That is correct. The correct answer is C. Mitigation attempts to reduce the impact of the risk event should it happen. Making such plans reduces the consequences of the risks. Thank you very much. Hopefully you found this video useful and will added some value, some information to your PMP study. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We also have a Telegram group that you can join. Other PMP aspirants, ask questions, share information, share strategies. And if you have a question, you can also email us at pmpprep101@gmail.com. Thank you and hope to see you again in the next video.